everyone. So, I'm prepared to get a lot of flack in the comment section for what I'm about to say here and now, but I think just based off this chapter alone, I think this like second round fight between All For One and Armored All Might, I think it might be my favorite fight in the series. If not my favorite fight in the series, then I think I kind of like this fight more than the Hideout Raid arc. Yes, more than All Might and All For One's first fight. And don't get me wrong, that fight itself is still amazing. It was a perfect encapsulation and showcase of All For One's true abilities. But this fight right here, this fight of All Might standing his ground, fully armored up in like an Iron Man, Batman type suit, like type armored suit, like it's not even that, but like Sakauchi puts it best in my opinion in this chapter. All the tools, gadgets in the world won't matter. A quirkless man could never hope to take on All For One. That is what right there. That what Sakauchi says is the perfect example of why I personally think that this fight is probably my favorite in the series, or at least better than the Hideout Raid arc fight, because it is All Might basically pushing himself beyond his limits, beyond what he's probably capable of. And yes, there is a chance he may die by the end of this. But the thing is, he doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to him. He just wants to give people that one spark of hope, that one sliver of little bit of time left in order to provide the chance for all. Even if he doesn't beat All For One, he wants to provide that one sliver, that one moment that could possibly tip the scales of allowing All For One to finally be defeated once and for all. He's fully prepared himself for this fight. He's prepared. He's committed to standing his ground right here, right now, against All For One, and just ending this whole thing between them. And I loved the whole thing of like how we did get like Heroes. I think it was a Heroes Rising crossover of like finally seeing Melissa. That yes, it was Melissa who helped him, and in some ways that kind of encapsulates this fight too. It's only because everyone has been pushing him forward that he's even here in order to face down this fight. And yes, he may die, but again, he's willing to die. He's willing to at least put everything, all he has into this fight before he dies. And like, again, that's kind of my favorite fight in any kind of medium, whether it's anime, manga, movies, TV, whatever, is the idea of a singular, powerless person, or maybe not powerless, but just a simple, regular man, fighting against the odds, fighting against insurmountable odds, the kind of odds that would kill a man, and All Might is facing them down right here and right now, and I love it. I really fucking love it. This was probably, like I said, this was probably my personal favorite fight, but like All Might has probably accepted the fact that he's going to die, but he's not going to die without putting up a fight. And one thing I especially love about this fight as well, in the logistics department of like, yes, it is All Might. All Might is quirkless, and he is just using like tech and gadgets in order to fight All For One. But I like how he does bring up one thing that is kind of something I never really thought about until now, which is that all for One's fights, all of his his entire fighting style, the way All For One fights, it is pretty much based around the idea that he's going to be fighting people with quirks. That is always his modus operandi. He's always fighting with the intention that yes, he's going to be fighting people with quirks. But when it comes to fighting people who don't have quirks, that is pretty much where he probably is at his weakest, because he's the thing about All For One is he's always such on a power trip, is that he thinks that people without quirks aren't worth his time, that they're always even weaker than those that maybe that have quirks. Like the only people who have quirks are the ones that are worth his time. So he's never really experience what it is like to fight someone who doesn't have a quirk. And this is kind of that fight where it's like, yeah, he's finally experiencing what it might be like to face someone who's completely quirkless, and all he has is like, and all he's facing is like weapons, gadgets, like all that stuff. It's like it's really the first time I think I think he ever has felt vulnerable. Like, and I kind of like how it is like, for pretty much all for one's bluster, it's kind of starting to kind of bite him back in the ass, just for how cocky he's always been about the idea of power and quirks and all that. He's now having to face someone who doesn't have a quirk and is actually pushing back on him. I kind of like that about it. And yeah, as I said, like just the suit itself, like the design of the suit, like Horikoshi really went all in on this design, and like again, the fact that he turned the car, like All Might's car, into a battle suit, that in itself is just genius. But the fact that this car itself is basically like a whole, like, again, Batman, Iron Man kind of amalgamation kind of thing, that is just beautiful. I loved this suit. Like, it's probably my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. I think it might be my favorite costume design in the entire My Hero Academia. Like, just saying. I think, yeah. Like, what can I say about that suit? It's fucking beautiful, and I love and yeah, it's like and All Might's last line, he says in the chapter, not once in my entire life have I gone into battle expecting to lose. So now obviously that is an epic line, but it does kind of require a little bit of an elephant in the room to address, which is that, is All Might going to die? Is this the moment that Night Eye predicted, that he would lose his life? And I think it would probably have to be so. The only question I have is whether or not Horikoshi's going to follow through with it. And, like, I'm not saying he won't, but it's like, he's been holding off on killing All Might for so long that it's like, is this the where it's kind of just, I think, had me questioning, is this going to be the moment where he dies or not? It's like, I am just kind of questioning a little bit in my head, is this the moment where he dies? And I can't say for certain on that, honestly. Like, he's kind of, I don't want to say Horikoshi has teased us a lot with this, but it's like, he's definitely, it's hard to say, but it's like, he's made it really hard to say. Horikoshi's made it really hard to believe whether or not he's going to die or not, honestly. Like, so like, I can only leave it up to it's one of those things where I can only leave it up to Horikoshi's whims at this point as to whether or not he kills All Might here and now. I mean, it's, again, I'm not going to say it's not possible. It could actually still be quite possible in this scenario, but it's like, it's hard to, at the same time, it's a little hard to say with certainty too. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and it was Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Illinois, signing off. Later, everyone.